I will not leave you orphans, says Jesus. That means that what is taking his place is as real as he is. We cannot see the Holy Spirit, but he is a person. And I'd like you, all of you, big ones and little ones, to realize that we have to do with a real person, the Holy Spirit. The more we are involved with him, the more he's involved with us. And the more we're open to him, the more he can get through to us, because he's more around than we think. In the early church, being a Christian meant being ready to be a martyr. And they took very seriously the promise given by the Lord that the Holy Spirit would give them what they had to say when they had to reply, before persecution especially. And so they had what they called the honour, the cult given to, there was a special category, it was called the confessors, those who ended up tortured but didn't quite succeed in being butchered. They survived. And those who actually had that experience were honoured because they felt, the others, that the Holy Spirit was, as it were, still speaking through them. It can happen to us too. We can find ourselves in a situation where we don't know what to say. It can happen, for instance, if one is, especially in the ministry, hearing a person's confession, preaching, giving a retreat or a lesson, that one can be nudged to say something or to ask something, whatever it might be. Why? Because the Holy Spirit is very much engaged in his own work. But it can also happen to you. It's important to let God be in the driving seat as we go through life. We can block out all that he wants to do with us by just always giving off noise, giving off our own program of what must be done. The Spirit likes peacefulness. He doesn't like noisiness and agitation. And it's the big disease of our day, agitation. Look around you, and what do you see? People in this mode. They can't stop. Even when they're alone, they're into something which is buzzing and keeping them going. They're being driven by something outside themselves, and they're not in control. And life is going in that mode. The Spirit is gentle. The Spirit, to get through, needs the same gentleness on our part. If you look at a pool, if it's calm, you can see your image in it if you look at it. If you start to wave a stick inside it in such a way that the mud comes from the bottom, then it becomes completely clouded over. One time, the Lord gave that lesson to a great mystic. She's not been canonized yet. Her name is Sister Consolata. She was a Capuchin nun, and the Lord gave her to understand that this is the great enemy. He can't get through to a muddy soul. And he was trying to illustrate this point, that it's like this pool. For the Lord to reflect himself and to be able to get through to the soul, he wants the soul to be calm like that crystal clear water. What upsets the Holy Spirit in his action is this muddiness, this cloudiness, this complication in our soul. Now, for you little people, it starts very early on. I think probably you're the lucky ones, because I would think, knowing your families, the daddy and mammy don't encourage you to get into artificial games. I mean those that keep children happy for hours on end, but playing with something which is not natural games, on screens essentially, video games and all that goes with it. Because if you look around at children of your age, they can't now play quietly. They're contaminated at a very early age. Now, it's actually very, very damaging. Why? Those same children, watch them. They just can't sit still. It's that muddiness in their soul. They're agitated. They're being driven. So appreciate the families that are bringing you up so well that you're able to appreciate simple games. It also has an effect on your relationship. You watch these children. If they're engaged with these artificial games, each one is in his little bubble, and they can't easily talk and engage with even their friends, even their brothers and sisters. The bubble is more interested. And actually, you watch a child, when they're trying to take off a young child off his little bubble, they are very agitated and they don't like it one little bit. They're addicted already. So you're being preserved from lots of things you don't need. Life is actually far better when you feel it. Do you know the effect of all these artificial bubbles? It kills time. And it's the same with big grown-ups. You watch them, they are always killing time. They can't face the silence of being alone with just, for instance, a book, or even nothing at all. People cannot sit still, and life passes them by. One little jump. This is the Vigil of Pentecost, and right throughout the world, actually even in the East this year, because it's the same date this year, the whole Christian world is praying for an outpouring of the Spirit. And therefore there's a lot of grace in the air. Do you know what favours the action of the Holy Spirit? It's not usually precisely in the prayer mode that happy, clappy, artificially joyful, merry atmosphere which is noisy and again cannot sit still. It's actually precisely this element of being waiting for, being able to receive, to feel the slightest nudge. And it's important also for the individual. The Lord likes the soul that waits for him. So learn that secret, because even a child, actually especially a child, is closer to heaven than we think. Why? They're not contaminated. The soul has come straight from God, and therefore little children are able to be very, very, very much in tune with what the Holy Spirit is nudging in them and wants to say to them. So learn, when you're in prayer, to realize you're handling a real person who has something to say to you. Usually it won't be dramatic, but he might give you, for instance, a little inspiration, a concrete one. Give a big cuddle to Mammy. Say thank you for this. Send a card to so-and-so. They're little things, but they mean a lot. Pick them up, because the more open we are, the more we will pick them up and we will receive them. And as one grows up, it's very important, because suddenly one finds, wow, that really was from the Holy Spirit, and that was meant to happen. But it couldn't happen if we were in noisy mode and so much in control that the Lord was not in the driving seat. Busy. A vessel is but filled when emptied all, and when alone all bare. For there is here no room for two to be, and membranes small that hide the busy soul move very near to many worlds and galaxies of thought that chance to travel by, and we are not at home and fully there, when elsewhere caught in orbit wide our little orb forgot. Oh, many rays at wander, sunder this our part beam awhile. Let us not stand too long where we belong, and bid us miss the touch of something touching in this land, where hurrying and worrying were all that rested ne'er, 'tween rested membranes small.